Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chalene Johnson. In this video, I'm going to share with you tips for parenting teens. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thanks for hitting the like button. Thanks for dropping comments, especially ones that even if you disagree, you're polite about it. Like, can we all just be polite adults? Okay, so first I want to start by saying this is just what we did. I don't know if this is going to work for you. And raising teenage years are the hardest years of all. I heard somebody say once that the hardest year you will ever have as a woman is when you are 13 and then when your daughter's 13. And I would say that was probably pretty true. I think ours might have hit around 14. Okay, so I'm just going to share what we did. And if this is helpful to you, awesome. The first thing I have to say is getting through the teen years starts when they're born. The foundation that you build before they're teenagers is friggin' everything. And you are, as you probably know, you're in a tough spot if you're trying to fix things that there was never a foundation for discipline, respect, communication, those kinds of things before they hit their teenage years. So, my parents were amazing parents and they read every single parenting book known to man. I remember my parents always talking about the parenting books that they were reading. And they did a great job because of that. They wanted to do a better job than their parents. If I do say so myself, I think my parents were exceptional parents. I think they did nothing wrong except that they gave me too much trust. And I got away with a lot of things because they were good kids growing up. So I was able to get away with a lot. Anyways, enough about them. Back to the reason why I say that is because when our kids were born, we started reading all the parenting books. And even to this day, I've read 3 or 4 parenting books just this month, and my kids are adults. It's interesting, and I think it's fascinating, and I think you're never done. Okay, so what do we do? First of all, there's that foundation where there has to be respect, and both ways. Our kids knew that they couldn't debate us or argue with us, but if they disagreed with something we said, even when they were young, if they came to us in the right way and explained their side of things, we would listen. But never was there to be a debate in the moment. If I said no, no meant no. And we never made exceptions for that. So by the time they were teens, the things I think that really made a big difference is total acceptance. Helping them know that whoever you are, whatever you want to be, however you want to be, it's good with us. We let them dress, especially my daughter, she went through some crazy periods with the way she liked to dress and the things she was into. And we just always supported it. And my son too, if they wanted to do crazy things with their image or I don't know, just different things, we just never, ever made them feel like we weren't accepting who they were, including their personalities. Especially if you read anything about birth order, every kid's going to be so different. And it's very easy for children to feel as though you like the oldest one or the one who conforms or the one who's quiet or the one who's agreeable, and they feel that. And then that makes them feel like they are not accepted. So total acceptance was really, really huge. I wrote down some notes. Listening. I see so many parents who they just think they have to constantly be parenting by talking and lecturing. And they don't give their kids a chance to just talk. And it's frustrating with their teens because teens don't really like to talk. They go through this stage where they're just everything's I don't know. How was your day? What's wrong? Nothing. They barely move their mouths. I don't know what it is. All kids do that. My kids did it. So it takes a lot longer to get them to open up and just talk. Car rides, it takes time. That was another one of my tips is you have to carve out so much time. And so if you want to get through those teen years, that's when we probably stepped back the most in our business and that's because we just knew it was so much harder to get them to talk. And we knew it was a very, very critical time in their development. So I didn't do appearances for my job. I didn't take on new opportunities. We really scaled back many of our businesses because at the end of the day, we're what's more important? Making more money, having more people know you, or raising good humans? We have this much time. Let's get it right. It takes a lot of time. Time with them, not just there and you're in the same house, but being present. So to touch on it, another one of the things that we did is Again, that's just what we did. I'm not saying it's going to work for you. We discouraged any activities that would create distance. What do I mean by that? Again, this is just what we did. We didn't let our kids do their homework in their bedrooms because we found, especially with digital devices, unless you have a camera on them, when they're doing their homework in their bedroom, they're picking up their phones, they're going on social media, they're looking at YouTube, and it takes them 10 times as long, and then the whole night they're in their room and they didn't spend any time with you. So we had our kids do their homework in the common area with us and no cell phones. And, it wasn't even like we had to say no phones, but I think because we were there, they just didn't. And so they got through their homework a lot faster, and they were also around us, and it's just time together. So other activities that I think create distance are letting your kids isolate. Teenagers are going to tell you, get away. I don't want to hang out with the family. I don't want to sit, like, leave me alone. Like, I'm fine. You know what I mean? Like, they push you away. That's all a test. It's partly a test and partly them trying to figure out who they are. And we just ignored that. It's not like we didn't respect their privacy or anything, but we just didn't allow them to just hang out in their rooms. We all hung out in kind of a common area. We watched TV shows that weren't like just things I liked or just things Brett liked. We watched things as a family. We watched tons of documentaries together. And that allowed us to talk and to communicate and to talk about beliefs and open up their minds and all of those things. It's just like a lot of time together is really, really huge. I think the other thing that's really important for kids is to feel like they need to feel like they are enough as they are, that they don't need to get perfect grades to have your love, attention, and for you to be happy with them. If your kids feel like you're unhappy with them because they get poor grades, and I'm just saying this from someone who always got poor grades, my parents never made me feel bad about that. And I would say to them, I know I'm so much smarter than this. And they weren't the parents who were like, well, then you need to apply yourself. They would be like, well, it's a C isn't that bad. If you want to get better, you can try. Like, they never made me feel bad about it. And I have ADHD and I really, really struggled in school, but I think my parents knew that I was smart. And so here's what I did with my kids. And again, this is just my opinion. I know my kids are smart. I'm not worried about what grades they get because I'm not worried about what college they go to. Every college is, you can get a degree friggin' anywhere. You don't need to get in a prestigious university so that mom can brag on it, right? And I'm like, I know my kids are smart and they've got common sense. And that was like way more important to me than if they got A's or B's or whatever. Which is not to say, like, my son, who's the oldest, put a lot of self-imposed pressure on himself to get, perfect grades. There was one point Brett and I actually told him that we would pay him to get a B- or a B. Like, just get a B, dude, just live. You're in school full time. You're a full-time athlete and you're putting all this pressure on yourself. Dude, get a B and live life a little bit. We wanted him to realize, like, you don't have to be perfect. Everything's all going to work out. So we just wanted our kids to feel like we completely accepted them. No matter what they wanted to do, they didn't have to be entrepreneurs. They didn't have to outdo their parents. They didn't have to get great grades. They didn't have to be the number one kid on the team, whatever. How, and I'm saying all that, but yet it's still, I know they still felt, because they've told us this, that they still at times didn't feel like they were going to be enough because of our success. And, there's just certain things like you have to do your best, and even your best, you might not be able to work around that. You just never know how your kids are going to interpret certain things. But I always wanted them to feel like, dude, if you want to just listen, if you want to not go to college and you want to go live on an island, why do I care? Like, that, if that's what you want to do with your life, that's awesome. So I think it's really important that our children truly believe that we accept them and that we don't have expectations for their lives, because it feels so horrible to feel like you're not meeting your parent, like that you're a disappointment to your parents. Can you imagine? And that you just have to constantly, you have to say a million positive things to cancel out one negative. The other thing I think is really important is apologizing, and without like making excuses. But I think so many times parents are like, ooh, I really messed up on that one. And then we don't apologize. I think it's important to apologize to our kids. The sooner the better. Don't sweat the small stuff. I have friends who will reach out to me and they're like, oh my God, I just found out that my daughter is sexting with this guy. And, my friend would be like crying and like, should we put them in a home? Like, just kind of overreacting, like freaking out, like, where did I go wrong? Freaking out. And I just was always like, in the scheme of things, yeah, you want to know and you want to take action. You want to intervene as soon as possible. But don't freak out and don't overreact, and just remember what you were like at that age. Like, I think about the things that I did, oh my God, that my parents never knew, and I still turned out okay. Like, your kid's gonna turn out okay. I personally, I didn't mind if my kids got in a little bit of trouble. I wanted to know that they weren't afraid to take risks. I wanted to know that they had that adventurous side. I wanted to know that they could get in a jam and figure it out themselves, and I wanted them to know that. So I just, I never wanted my kids to feel like they had to be perfect, and also open communication. So one rule that we had, and it helped for an open line of communications, was my kids both knew no matter what it is, if you come to me and tell me the truth, I'll help you figure it out. You're not going to be in trouble. I'm not going to judge you, ever. I love you, and I'll help you figure it out. You're going to have to undo it, but I'll help you figure that out. But do not lie to me. Like, if you lie to me, you're in a hell of a lot of trouble. Like, hell will rain down if you lie. Don't lie, but watch. I mean, you can tell me you robbed a bank, and on the way home, I don't know. I'm just saying, no matter what they did, I would say, as long as you come to me and tell me, then we'll figure it out, because people make mistakes. I don't know if this is helpful for you. Again, parenting teens is probably the hardest time you'll ever go through. It really helps if you and your partner are on the same page. Even if you're, divorced, try to get on the same page. I would suggest in that regard, you just remember, what is our goal? We both have the same common mission here, and make that happen. Every kid is different. You can do everything right, and your kid still has their own DNA. There's just so much unexpected. And today, even to imagine if my kids were 5 years younger, oh, what a different world it is, having to deal with the pandemic and so much more pressure even now than social media than there was 5 years ago. So you're doing a great job. Don't beat yourself up. That's not going to help matters. And yes, you can start making improvements today, but just do your best. Think about some of the most amazing people on the planet. They had parents who made a lot of mistakes, and they still turned out pretty amazing. So don't beat yourself up. You're doing a great job. Thanks for being here. Thanks for subscribing to the show. I'd love to see your comments below if there's anything else that you'd like to talk about in terms of parenting or kids or anything else. I'm here for you. All right, see ya.